What's good, y'all? It's your boy Cold Blooded, and we back with another one. And listen, man, I know it's been a minute since my last one, but I'm gonna keep it a bean with y'all. Your boy got burnt out. I wasn't a huge fan of the state that the game was in, and it was becoming increasingly more frustrating to have to sift through the player base just to find a fight with a little bit of integrity. So since 1.3, I've been back on, and we're on 1.3.3 now, and I ain't gonna hold you, the game is definitely taking steps in the right direction. So without further ado, class is back in session. Now, I don't know about you guys, but I'm gonna keep it 100 with you, man. The game is in a really good state right now. It's a lot better now than it was yesterday, that's for sure. Steel City, I feel like they got their hiring done. There was that little moment where they were kind of like stagnant, and I know they were hiring in that time frame, and since then they've been pumping out patches, and they've all been a winner for me, if you know what to look for. The game is not perfect though, by any means, obviously we know that. And if y'all subscribe to somebody like Sports Gaming Analysis, he'll break it down for you as to exactly what the game needs and why it's not perfect. So shout out to him. Watch this clip, y'all. Watch this next clip. Feint into the step. Bop. Boom. Dude, that wasn't a thing before. Watch the angles I achieve. You can get deep angles again. That's what I was looking for on the day of release. I'm like, damn, this is the stuff I was doing in early access. Why can't I dodge anymore? Why can't I step around anymore? Why can't I weave properly? I don't like the way the weave is in this. It's arcadey, it's ugly, but I understand where they were going with it. But it just didn't work. To see all that stuff work again, oh yeah, man. The fact that I can grab lower caliber fighters now and have such a high success rate now because the game is starting to actually have that skill gap speaks volumes too. Now the real ones can separate themselves from the rest of the pack. Now, admittedly, the dodge mechanic is incredibly strong right now, and so the last thing you want is guys just skipping around the ring like I do, admittedly, and then it turns into like Fight Night Round 4 all over again. But the thing about the angles in this game is there are multiple ways to achieve deep angles. The dodge is only one way. Loose movement allows you to get the exact same angles the dodge allows. The weave allows you to get the same angles. The directional punches allow you to get the same angles. So don't think of the dodges as dodges. Think of them as just achieving angles. Now, when you know that you can also get those same angles several different ways, you start to realize, okay, I can counter those dodges in different ways, and I can also achieve my own angles without having to keep flicking the stick, and so on and so forth. There is a lot of different ways to skin a cat. I will do a video, I promise y'all. I will do a video and break down the steps, the movement, so on and so forth, because that's the meta now. So while we're here, let's break down some of the more nuanced things that I think are a tremendous plus since 1.3. So obviously one of the larger issues with the game has always been the power punches. They just never seem to get them right. Now, I don't have to break down the history of them. Everybody knows what the issues have been, especially with the power right hook specifically. And I still see people complain about it on the forums. Although we don't have manual blocking, which we do need, there is a way to manually take it away. And if you block and lean the appropriate direction at the right time, you can get that glove up, and you can really make them pay. Case in point, I had an issue with this guy. For the life of me, he just kept landing that power right hook. But as you see, I started to get that lean out, started to get the glove up, and I started catching it and shooting right after. At this point, the damage is already done, so when he finally catches on and he throws that power hook, it's too late. And the fact that he's doing a regular block, he's just eating a punch. Another example is right here. You see the spam from Klitschko. He does it again. All right, now I'm gonna take it away. Boom, catch and shoot. Now, if you guys remember, prior to patch 1.3, that block during the lean didn't even work. Stuff would still bleed through. So that's one of the big changes to me that I'm really in love with. It's allowed me to win fights that I probably otherwise wouldn't have. For example, this fight with George Davey versus Julio Cesar Chavez. It came down to the wire, all fight. He was landing a power right hook, and at the end he needed it. So I knew he was gonna throw it. And as you see, I set myself up in position, caught it, and made him pay for it. So I do like that's in the game. Obviously we don't have manual blocking online, which we need. Listen, I can't say it enough. We need manual blocking. Because they said they revamped the blocking, but you can still just hold that button. Dudes can still just hold that button and fend off everything. The auto block is just too much. At least make it to where I can trick the auto block somehow with feints and so on and so forth. This way I can start feinting a hook to land a jab and things like that. If they did that, it would incorporate a deeper skill gap, and then it would require me to have to squeeze the trigger at the right time to block, as opposed to just hold the block. Something like that, anything to incorporate a skill gap. Or, here's a thought, just put manual blocking online, right? Now, all that being said, the game is headed in the right direction though. Like I said, I'm seeing the changes. Slipping works now, as you'll see here. Boom, it works now. I'm able to use it. The steps, or the dodges rather, they work really well. And let me show y'all something. This is a money clip right here. No wasted shots. Defense on point. Shot selection on point. Nothing's being wasted. No crazy energy expenditure. Yes, sir. You see the 1-2, step over, 2, then 3 around. Oh, look at these combos, bro. I'm like the real Canelo out here. Yeah, but y'all know me. When I play this game, I strive to make it look good. That's just me. Now, before we finally hop into this fight, I do want to make sure I break something down for y'all, because I can't get y'all all the sauce. That's for a different video, but I do want to leave y'all with something that y'all may have not known about that could be potentially groundbreaking and change the way everybody play. So in early access, there were ways to manipulate the physics of the punches. If you remember, the gloves, the elbows, the forearms, the extremities, they had their own hitbox. Everything was physics based, and so if you didn't touch somebody on the chin directly and you hit a glove, it would register as a block. There were certain angles you could hit though, where it would change the physics of the punch entirely, or the animation of the punch entirely, and it would allow you to try to get around the glove. Those still exist now, and they're very potent to do now that you can start dodging. All right, so the first thing we're gonna do is pull up the field of view, or field of vision. All right, so when you get angles on your opponent in this game, obviously at all times you're usually within that 15 degree, between 15 and 30 degrees of your opponent. When you sidestep your opponent in this game, you can get to between 30 and 60 degrees, and then there's another degree you can get. So you can technically sidestep somebody twice, and you can get as deep as like 95 degrees of your opponent. Now you'll know when you're at max depth of the degree or the angle of your opponent that you can achieve, because if you try to do a slip that direction, it literally won't let you. So it just won't allow your player to have an angle that might potentially put you behind your opponent. So in early access, the deeper the angle that you got on your opponent, the more likely you were to not have that glove on glove action happen and get around their guard. And one of the reasons Deontay Wilder's overhand was so crazy is because the arc on his punch is the same animation that you would get if you got within 60 to 90 degrees of your opponent's field of view and you threw a regular power hook. Now I can show it to you a lot better than I can explain it, so I just watch closely what I do here. So you see me lean to the side, so I put my head off the center line within 30 to 60 of him, and I throw the right hand. Now right there you see that how that power hook arches when I get at the 60 degrees of him. You see the arch again. Now, watch me get within 90 degrees and watch how deep the arc is, and it's gonna constantly go over his glove. That one doesn't count, that's a regular one. So I'm gonna roll with a hook, right hook first, directional right hook, and then I'm gonna throw another one, a power right hook, and then watch how deep the arc is. And you can manipulate it every single time. Boom. See the arc on that? Now watch this one land. Pow. And the reason the arc was vicious that time is because I didn't have to do the second step to get to 90, because he walked. You see that? Because he walked over or moved over to my left, he gave me that 90, and it created the arc. Now, the reason that's useful is because there are ways to achieve that angle every time in this game. I'm gonna diagram back up. Now, I'll probably do a video, hop in the lab and elaborate on this further. But specifically, there's multiple types of ways to get where you gotta be. So obviously, if you're in a straight line of your opponent, you're within 15 degrees. If you're infighting, if you're within arm's length of your opponent to where uppercuts can land pretty much, and you flip the stick, you'll do a minor step. The minor step puts you at the blind spot. If you're outside of uppercut range of your opponent in this game and you flick the stick, it's a major step. It puts you within 30 to 15 degrees, or rather 60 to 30 degrees, for 60 to 30 degrees, depending on if you're dodging a punch or not. If you manage to get 2 steps of an angle on your opponent, it'll put you between 60 and 90 degrees. The only way to do that, though, is to use 2 different movement methods. So you cannot just double sidestep or double dodge. It has to be a directional punch into a dodge, or a weave into a dodge, or a weave into a directional punch, a directional punch into a weave, and so on and so forth. It has to be 2 different things. Furthermore, your opponent also has to be either punching to where you open a counter window, or he has to be leaning. As you know, when you lean in this game, you become flat-footed and you become slower on the pivot. The other way is loose movement. Anything you do in loose movement throws you to the deepest degree possible outside of the other steps. So you can't get 90 degrees on your opponent just in loose movement, but you can get 60. Versus if you're in your base stance, you have to be doing a dodge mechanic or a movement mechanic of some sort to get to 60 degrees. So on loose movement, you can get to 60 degrees, and then any step you do after that puts you at 90. That's what makes loose movement so potent. So you'll notice, well, any gameplay footage that I have where my name is on the right side, so it's not hidden, you'll notice if my opponent is leaning, I will instantly go into loose movement and then do a step, a transitional step, while moving that direction, because that's the deepest angle that I can get, and I'll have wild success. It should also be noted that anytime your opponent is below 40% stamina and he's forced into the fatigue walk or whatever, and whenever he's rocked, he's also not subjected to the access that you're on when you're on your base stance. So he gets all the benefits that loose movement gets when he's fatigued and when he's rocked, minus the speed boost, obviously. So as you see here, my opponent's rocked. He's actually able to move freely, and you see he's getting weird angles on me. And then you see when he's not rocked, he'll be able to still get those weird angles on me, which is why it feels like people are so difficult to either touch or to just like box cleanly with or against whenever they're tired or whenever they're hurt. Obviously I'm aware of that, so I'm gonna do better against it, and he's probably unaware of it. But you come across somebody who is aware of it, they can manipulate it to a T and make it really difficult for you to touch them. You know what? I think this video is hitting the 15-minute mark or something like that. It is. I personally feel like 20 minutes is the sweet spot. 15-20 minutes is the sweet spot. I do owe y'all a fight, and I have a lot of fights. I got a lot of fights. I got a lot of shout outs I want to give out, because I was fortunate enough to run into some really good players. and get some real good fights in. So what's what we're gonna do? We're gonna spin the block. We're gonna double back, and we got some content to pump out. All right, but first I want to post this just to get my feet wet. You mean you could welcome your boy back. Appreciate it, and let's get it, man. I'll see you on the next one.